Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others. Join the fight.
by Tri-County Logging. Experienced in sustainable forestry practices, Tri-County Logging can help you manage your property by keeping your woods healthy and generate income. Serving southern and mid-Michigan for nearly 50 years, TriCountyLogging.com.
Hi everyone, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. I'm Jenny Olson-Silik and we've got a great show lined up for you this week. We're all very excited about firearm deer season that opens on Sunday. Plenty of deer hunting to be had this time of year. There's so many other things to do as well, and we are going to show you what happened on opening day of pheasant season a few weeks ago in the Thumb. An exciting time, you won't want to miss that story. And Jimmy and Jordan have some other excitement in store for us this week too.
Well, that's right, Jenny. Exciting is a great word to describe the first story on this week's show. Jordan Browne, after several weeks of close calls, was able to get one of the biggest bucks of his life on the ground. You definitely won't want to miss that story. We're also going to sit down with a survival expert on this week's show. In case you get turned around in the woods this gun opener and have to spend a night or two in the woods that you weren't expecting to, some good tips on how to survive that situation. And since it's the last show before the gun opener, we're going to do our annual Palace in the Popples poem. So lots of good stuff. Make sure you stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger. It's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan out of doors.
What a beautiful day in the woods.
Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's a love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Country Smokehouse, a sportsman's meat processor and Michigan destination since 1988. Offers a variety of homemade smoked meats and Michigan-made products in-store and online. The Country Smokehouse features an outdoor barbecue and bar. Details at countrysmokehouse.com. The Michigan Wildlife Council is dedicated to educating the public about the important role hunters and anglers play in supporting wildlife conservation for future generations. Learn more at hereformioutdoors.org. By Greenmark Equipment. Greenmark Equipment is a John Deere dealership network in southwest Michigan and northern Indiana. Greenmark provides sales and services to farmers, commercial businesses, large property owners, and homeowners. Information about pricing and products available can be found online at greenmarkequipment.com. By Showspan, producing consumer shows including the Ultimate Fishing Show, Detroit, January 7th to 10th at Novi's Suburban Collection Showplace. The show features fishing tackle, trips, boats, and seminars from top pros. The Ultimate Fishing Show, Novi, January 7th to 10th.
The 2020 bow season has provided more encounters and close calls with nice bucks than any season in recent memory. But from the very beginning, there's one buck I've been hoping to see, an almost perfectly symmetrical 10-point that I happened to find both sheds to this spring. For most of the year, he's been pretty elusive, but on November 5th, he finally slipped up.
Well, back in the tree stand today, tucked up here really tight against the bedding areas in a spot I sat a couple days ago. I had a great sit then, just didn't see a buck I was looking for. I really only hunt this stand once or twice a year, and it's usually around this time when the bucks are still cruising a little bit, but hanging a little tighter to cover, so we're in here tight. I've got food, I plan on sitting all day, so hopefully we can see one of those nice bucks and maybe finally fill that buck tag.
The morning started out pretty good, but as the temperature began to rise and the wind started to pick up, the deer movement came to a halt. But all of that changed a little after 10 a.m. when I caught movement on the edge of the bedding area. I spotted 2 bucks, one I had seen several times before, and another one that I had been hoping to see within bow range all year.
Brett. No way. Did that just happen? That's the #1 buck on my list. I've only seen him one other time all season. I think I just absolutely smoked a giant 10-point. If it's the buck I'm thinking of, I have both his sheds from last year. I passed him up multiple times as what I thought was a good 2-year-old. I've been hoping all year I would see him. It's like 10:30 in the morning. I've been sitting here for a while, haven't seen much, and out of nowhere I see this nice 2-year-old 8-point that I have passed up multiple times. And behind him, for what reason I do not know, is the 10-point. They were together. I think I absolutely smoked him. Unbelievable.
Well, here he is. Incredible hunt this morning. Incredible buck. Thankful for a well-placed arrow that, had him expire in about 40 yards. So that's always really important to me. Probably my biggest buck in the last 10 years with a bow and arrow anyway. And feeling really thankful right now. Just thankful to property owners that let me hunt out here, and thankful to a wife that sacrifices a lot so I can hunt as much as I do. And thankful to a boss that lets me hunt as much as I do as well. So, man, it is a great feeling to fill a Michigan buck tag here, and to do it on a buck of this caliber it's really something special. And let a lot of bucks go this year that were very nice deer that I wouldn't blame anybody for shooting. Just trying to see if I could shoot something in that next age class, and to get it done on a buck like this. It's hard to put into words, to get it on camera with a bow and arrow. It's really difficult to do, and to do it on a big deer it's awesome. Really, really thankful.
Catching up with a buck that you have a history with is always a little bittersweet. The chase is over, but I guess it's the same whether you're looking for a big buck or just a deer for the freezer. That chase is what keeps us all coming back for more. Thankfully, my season is about a lot more than filling my own buck tag. And a few days after I punched my tag, I was able to help my wife Angela, who's 5 months pregnant, recover a nice buck and take our daughter along for the track.
He went this way. Let's go out this trail. I think I see a belly. Look at that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Look at that.
Ooh.
You want to get down and check him out? He's cool. He was a big deer.
He was big bodied. That's all I saw. That's why I knew he was a shooter. I mean, I knew rack-wise he wasn't my biggest, but his body was nice.
I got a nice buck.
What'd you think, huh?
I don't know. What do you think, Mommy?
I think I'm pretty excited.
You gonna bring it home?
We're gonna bring it home. Is he gonna give us a lot of good meals?
It's been a wild year, but the 2020 bow season has treated our household well. Good luck to all of the gun hunters hitting the woods this weekend, and all the bow hunters still trying to fill a tag.
In this next story, we are going to take a visit with Tom Lounsbury. He's a good friend of the show and an outdoor writer here in Michigan, and he loves his pheasant habitat and opening day of pheasant season. When we got the invite to head to his house and check it out, we couldn't pass it up.
It's the opening day of pheasant season, October 20th, and that's a favorite day for me. And we got some friends here that this farm, I've been fourth generation on the family farm here, and I've devoted the majority of it for pheasant habitat. And we're talking wild birds. We're not; these are not tame birds at all. And in fact, their genetics go all the way back to the first pheasants that were planted in this area in 1917. And they're very elusive. So we're going to try some techniques today with some blockers. And you got to have a headwind when you hunt these birds. If you don't have a headwind, they're just going to run circles around you. So
the guys were all excited, especially my husband's cousin Scott, who had been shooting many times before, but never hunting.
Just here for my first time and excited about having a fun day and seeing how this works.
Awesome. All right. I'll check back with you later.
All right.
Scott couldn't have picked a more knowledgeable group of guys to hunt with for his first time. Tom laid out the plan for the day.
We're going to drive all the vehicles to the back, and that'll form kind of a block. The birds, we're going to only be able to do it one time. They're going to think we're farm equipment coming in. That won't happen twice. But anyway, I want everybody spread out. Bob Walker and I are going to be on a golf cart, and we'll get off and act as blockers because I have standing corn over here, and they're going to head for that standing corn. And then there's soybeans on the very back. You guys going there are going to stop that. And I want to go into a north wind and do a steady sweep all the way through all three sections I have here. It's kind of like a chess game. We're going to keep sweeping them north. Those that we don't get, we'll just keep pushing. Hopefully it works.
Yeah. Ooh. Here, dead bird. Get a bird. Oh, you see him smell it? He's pointing it.
Okay.
Oh man, opening day wild bird. Good job. Sweet.
So Steve Griffin had the pleasure of dropping the first rooster of the day, and Scott had a front row seat to the action. Way down to our east at the other end of the field, Tom and Bob watched the prairie grass explode with 8 or 10 birds who made it over to the standing corn, offering no shots to our blockers.
Rooster.
These were definitely some wild pheasants we were hunting, with a swing and a miss on the second rooster of the morning. In the next field, I stood with Bob Walker, who was acting as a blocker for any birds flying ahead of the dogs.
So Bob, how long have you been hunting with Tom out here?
20 years.
Yeah?
I guess. Been a long time. We met originally, we started the group, the United Sportsmen's Alliance, and that's where I originally met Tom, and we've been telling stories ever since. And some of them are even true, if that's important. But I've often found too much truth will ruin a good story. So you'll hear a lot of stories today, and some are even true.
Well, one true story is that Tom has cultivated his land to hold lots of pheasants, but most everyone here in the Thumb says the population is nothing like it used to be.
Yeah, not anymore. You know, the birds were, when I was in early 60s, we hunted with our grandparents then, and just tremendous amount of birds. It was amazing. And I left for 4 years in the service then, come home and it was already on the decline bad. terrible for that time. But then they quit using some of the pesticides in places that they can set aside super good for the pheasants, you know. Once they get the cover in the proper place, they'll spread and do all right. But there for a long time, there just wasn't. The farming practices, and didn't give them a good place to grow, and then with the pesticides and everything, the eggs were bad. So for a long time, there just wasn't any pheasants. Tom's set his whole place up. You can see it is for pheasants.
Tom Lounsbury is passionate about his pheasant habitat, to say the least. He transformed this land where his father and grandfather farmed crops into a premier habitat for wild pheasants with lots of hard work and the help of wildlife biologists. Tom loves sharing his passion and his land with others, especially newcomers to the sport.
It was incredible. It's kind of hard to explain. What surprised me maybe is just how sore my hip flexors are. But no, it was beautiful. Great walk, lots of exercise, and it was really great to be out there with, even though I didn't know anybody, maybe a couple people, but everybody treated me so great and welcomed me, and it was really terrific. So which I don't think was a surprise, but was very welcomed.
And that, my friends, is what it's all about. Welcoming new sportsmen and women into the fold, sharing our passion with them, and giving them their own stories to tell. Special thanks to Tom Lounsbury for doing just that, and for keeping this incredible outdoor heritage alive and well here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
Well, when it comes to the firearm deer season opener, many will be hunting close to home, but some will be heading up to northern Michigan to the big woods or even the bigger woods of the Upper Peninsula. Well, if you end up spending a night or two in the woods because you get turned around, here's some good safety tips to make sure you come home safe and sound. Well, hey everybody, we are here today with Sergeant Jake Collins, a SERE specialist in the United States Air Force, to kind of talk us through some survival stuff. We're getting ready for the gun season here in Michigan, and you can get lost on your own 40 acres behind your house, but if you're going to be in the Upper Peninsula and you're in the big woods, could really get lost. So we thought we'd go over just some good survival type stuff. So Jake, just to start off, what are some things that, as a hunter, that we should take with us in our pack as we hit the woods?
Yeah, so if you find yourself in that situation, one thing I highly suggest is having water. As soon as you go dehydrated, things start getting a little loopy. You're not really thinking too clear, so staying hydrated is going to be one of the biggest things. Obviously, some type of food, snacks, power bars is something I always took with me, and I enjoy having because it gives you that energy, and it's pretty small, easy to pack. And then a headlamp for sure, because it does get dark here pretty quick. It's pretty dark in the morning as well, and it's easy to get turned around. So having a nice headlamp and extra batteries for those as well. Carrying a lighter in your pack is probably the easiest thing you can do for yourself, especially in situations here in Michigan. I don't think you're going to find yourself out for several days or weeks at a time out here. So having a lighter, I also brought with me, something I always carry with me, is a tinder, so something to start that fire. So cotton balls and Vaseline, one of the simplest things you can make, and one of the easiest tinders that you can use to light a fire. All right, next one I'm going to start looking for is some of these straighter pieces, because I need to build a brace, because I definitely don't want to build my fire on the ground, especially in the winter when there's snow down. So what we say is about a foot by a foot. It doesn't have to be anything spectacular or crazy. You don't have to go cut down a perfectly straight tree for this. So I want a foot wide by about a foot long, and try and move it around, because you want as little gaps as possible, because if you go start this fire and your coal starts getting on the ground, then it's no good. The platform here is what we call a brace, and this is what we're going to put the tinder right down here. And this is tinder dependent. The tinder I have right here is that cotton ball and Vaseline, like I was telling you guys about earlier. The petroleum jelly catches the spark real quick, I'm about to show you, and that cotton ball keeps it burning for a little while. This really shouldn't take you more than 15-20 minutes if you're moving. And like I said, if you guys are really going, even out here, you're going to be sweating. And what I would say with that, especially when it starts dropping in temperatures, if you guys start sweating, start taking some of those layers off, because if you guys start to sweat, it's going to start to freeze, and then you're looking at potentially going into hypothermia, which is pretty dangerous. So right now we have definitely a sustainable fire, and we're just going to keep putting some more stuff on it.
So let's talk a little bit about water, because there's a lot of situations, and I know several guys that have either fallen through the ice or they're crossing a river on a little bit of a, makeshift bridge and they fall in. So let's say you're wet and in the outdoors in the winter here in Michigan. What are some things that guys should do?
Yeah, so first and foremost, not a good situation to be in.
Yeah.
So I would say the very first thing you want to do is kind of start stripping down some of those layers, because if it's in the winter, hopefully you have several different layers on. So get rid of those layers. And like I was telling you before, fire should warm you up twice. It's going to be very good for you to start moving around. and start building this fire, because you want to get as dry and warm as possible, because hypothermia is going to kick in pretty quick.
So taking layers off is key.
Yeah, because you don't want to keep all those soaking wet layers on you. Obviously, maybe like keep your thermals on or something like that, so you're not getting scratched up or beat up by the woods. And as you're walking around, your body heat will start to warm that up. But, you know, you need to get that fire going pretty quick.
Now, should you have some sort of water, if you're going to be in the big woods, should you have some sort of water purification, either tablets or, I mean, walk us through what is safe water to drink and how do you teach that?
Yeah, so obviously finding water is going to be a big thing, especially if you didn't plan ahead of time to have that water with you. One thing, the easiest thing you can do is either bleach or iodine tablets. And you can find those in your, like REI has those things. Bleach you can buy at the grocery store. So what I like to do is I'll take those eye droplets or the little containers that the eye droplets come into. And then I'll just fill that up with bleach, because when you come across water, obviously we're looking for flowing water.
Okay. So straight up bleach, right, and flowing water is safe to drink?
Absolutely. So you take that, and it's about 2 drops. Actually, it's not about, it is 2 drops for every quart. So you just take 2 little drops and then shake it up, and you're good to go. All right, so with this, we have our shelter piece out, or just a tarp. Even those blue tarps that you can get from the local hardware store, Walmart, or anything like that, they're going to work. Mine happens to have these nice, easy little tabs right here that I'm going to use to tie off with 550 cord, which is also something you should definitely always carry in your ruck, just because it's super easy to use. And you can use it in any situation, really. And those blue tarps have the grommets, or those metal grommets that are right here. But if you go to REI or a camping store, something like that, you can get a really nice rain fly just like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this ridge line. This is something real quick to put up. It's not going to take you guys too long. It's just 550 cord tying these 2 trees, and then I'm just going to stake it out real quick. So get you out of the weather. With this, if we're dealing with the cold, you want to try and make this as small as possible, or not really as small, but just enough for you and your pack. One thing that you need to do when you start staking it out is you want to have this around 45 to 60 degrees. You don't want it straight down. You don't want it nice. You don't want it flat out, because if it is snowing or raining, it's just going to fall straight on it. It's just going to pull up, and that's not what you're looking for. All right, option number 2 is going to be the natural shelter. So if something happened to our tarp, or we forgot to pack our tarp, or we just don't have a tarp, we can move into using the resource that we have around us. So what we did here is we went ahead and we got a ridgepole, nice sturdy ridgepole. I found a naturally occurring V, or somewhere I can just put it. It doesn't have to be sturdy. If you want to, for extra security, you could also tie this up or lash it to a tree if you want to, but this works very well. Once we do that, we put these sticks right here. I call these whale bones. So we're gonna line these along the whole side. Realistically, I want both sides covered. So it's gonna make a nice, warm, tight little shelter so you stay nice and warm in the wintertime. Okay, from here, what we would do, take boughs. So we go to these pine trees or these coniferous trees. We cut those down, and we can also use that for a ridgepole or for the whale bones. And then we would take the boughs from that and we'd weave them in and out along this whole shelter in between these whale bones. And that's gonna really tie these together and make these nice and sturdy. And then from there, we're gonna take more boughs, and we're gonna start from the bottom, and we're just gonna tuck them up underneath all these boughs that we weaved in and out of these whale bones. And just like shingling, starting from the bottom and then moving our way up so it stays nice and watertight in there.
So tell me a little bit how you kind of learned some of this outdoor survival stuff.
Yeah. So like I was telling you earlier, I grew up in Michigan and in the outdoors in Huron County. So hunting and fishing, all that good stuff. And it just always kind of interests me. And then I went to my local recruiter and I told him what I kind of wanted to do. And he told me this. I was like, no. And he was like, hey, what about a SERE specialist? I'm like, well, what do they do? He's like, well, all I can really tell you, because I don't know much, is they deal with the outdoors, they know survival, and they can instruct other people how to do that. And there's a ton of different avenues that you can go with this career field. And I was like, that sounds awesome. So let's just try that out.
So you go around and teach other people in the Air Force how to survive in the outdoors?
Absolutely. So we take any air crew or anybody that'll find themselves in a situation downrange, and we teach them all the skills that they're gonna need. So like everything we just talked about, shelters, fires, what to do if you're injured. We also teach them navigation, how to deal with map and compass, how to work their GPS, their radios, and anything that kind of entails with survival.
Well, those are some good tips for sure. If you're going to be hunting a new area this year, make sure that you have a handheld GPS if at all possible, and extra batteries. Good luck to everybody. Stay safe.
Hey everybody, I'm Master Sergeant Smith with Air Force Special Warfare and Combat Support Recruiting.
I'm Technical Sergeant Cowart, your local Michigan recruiter.
Hey guys, we're out here today because our team specializes in recruiting both special warfare and combat support, and we want to make sure that all you guys watching today have an opportunity to figure out what it is you would need to do to get into a career field like the one Sergeant Collins is in. So Sergeant Cowart, can you tell them a little bit about the process they would need to go through to come to your office and get started on this program?
Yep, exactly. So you can reach out to me directly. We can go through some of your options based on what your qualifications are for the Air Force, and then we can go into what the Air Force actually will do for you. We can also talk about the Special Warfare Program, the development session for that, and getting you prepared for these types of training, these types of environments that you'll actually be in. So feel free to reach out to me anytime, either just for some basic information, or if you're actually interested in pushing forward and becoming one of these combat specialists, let me know.
And one thing that's important to remember, guys, I know a lot of people in Michigan, they do like to hunt, they like to fish, but these career fields aren't specific to those types of people either. So if you enjoy being in the outdoors, or you enjoy working with other people, or teaching people, or providing something that's of value to someone else, this could be a career field for you. So what I would implore you to do is at least give Sergeant Cowart here a call, or your local recruiter a call, and see what opportunities they have available to you.
Thanks for joining us this week for Michigan Out of Doors. Good luck to everyone hitting the woods on November 15th. I'll be following a hunter in St. Clair County. And then on Tuesday, November 17th, I'll be in Richmond at Dick Hoovar's auto dealership. We're doing a kind of a socially distanced drive-by buck pull there from 2 to 9 p.m. If you'd like more information, you can check out our Facebook page here in a couple of days. We'll have some info there for you. And speaking of online, it's a great way to check us out.
Well, that's right, Jenny. Online, always a great way to kind of keep tabs on us. You can do that through our website. We have full episodes of the show there every week. We're also on most of the social media platforms and YouTube if you want to check us out there. Make sure you do check us out over the next few weeks here on your PBS station, because we're going to let you know how we did in all the different corners of the state. I'm going to be in the Mecosta County area, looking forward to that. And it has been our annual policy here for I don't know how many years now, but to air Palace in the Popples on the last show before the gun opener. This is a poem that hangs in the cabin that I grew up in, the deer camp that I grew up in, and I think many of yours as well. So enjoy and be safe out there, and good luck on the opener of the firearm deer season.
It's a smoky, raunchy boar's nest with an unswept, drafty floor, with pillow-ticking curtains and knife scars in the door. The smell of a pine knot fire from a stovepipe that's come loose mingles sweetly with the boot grease and the Copenhagen snooze. There are work-worn 30-30s with scratched and battered stocks, and drying lines of long johns and steaming, pungent socks. There's a table for the bloody four and their game of two-card draw. There's deep and dreamless sleeping on bunk ticks stuffed with straw. Frank's been drafted for cook again and is peeling some spuds for stew, while Bruce wanders by in baggy drawers reciting dangerous Dan McGrew. Nowhere on earth is fire so warm or coffee so infernal, nor whiskers so stiff, jokes so rich, or where hope blooms so eternal. A guy could live for a solid week in the same old underbritches and walk like a man and spit where he wants and scratch himself where it itches. I tell you boys, there is no place else I'd rather be come fall, where I eat like a bear and sing like a wolf and feel like I'm bull pine tall. In that raunchy cabin up in the north, in the land of the deer and the loon, with the tracking snow lying new to the ground at the end of the rutting moon.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by.
Do you dream of somewhere bigger than your backyard? You can get there with Greenstone. Whether you want to hunt, fish, hike, or just watch the sunset, we're ready to help you own your place in the great outdoors. To learn more, visit greenstonefcs.com.
WorkingPerson.com. From the factory floor to the job site and into the field, WorkingPerson.com supplies work boots and shoes, workwear, safety gear, and more for individuals or outfitting your whole team. Learn more at WorkingPerson.com.
By G5 Outdoors, makers of the Quest and Prime bows, manufactured and designed in Memphis, Michigan. G5 offers a line of archery bows, broadheads, and accessories on the web at g5outdoors.com. By Jay's Sporting Goods, with locations in Clare and Gaylord. Jay's has been serving the Michigan outdoor enthusiast since 1971 with a wide variety of outdoor products. The gear, the knowledge, the tradition of Jay's, on the web at jaysportinggoods.com. Closed captioning provided by Marvo Mineral, makers of Lucky Buck, deer management products including minerals to supplement deer diets year-round to improve health and antler growth.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land.